There is a receiver available right now who helped two different young quarterbacks take significant leaps in their careers, and the argument for signing him before training camp is so obvious that I genuinely cannot understand what this front office is waiting for. A Maxx Crosby trade prediction just landed with a specific team and a specific package, and it needs to be addressed directly. An undrafted pass rusher is already playing alongside veterans while the rest of the UDFAs are still working with rookies. And Nakobe Dean's absence opened a door for a 7th-round linebacker who is walking through it with everything he has. Stay here with me, Raider Nation. Let's get into the news. There is a name coming out of OTAs that nobody was seriously talking about, and his name is Cian Slone, an undrafted free agent pass rusher out of NC State who has done something that most UDFAs on this roster have not done yet. He earned the right to play alongside veterans during team periods while the rest of the undrafted free agents remained working only with rookies. That is not a small distinction. That is a coaching staff looking at what they are seeing every day in practice and deciding that this player deserves more than the standard UDFA treatment. The Athletic's Sam Warren flagged Slone specifically in a recent mailbag as a player who could make the final 53-man roster. And when you understand why the opportunity exists, it makes even more sense. The Raiders let veteran Charles Snowden go earlier this offseason, which opened up a concrete roster spot at the pass rusher position. Slone is now competing for that spot, and from what Warren reported, he is making a real case for himself. Warren described him as looking quick during OTAs and playing with noticeable effort, which is exactly what Rob Leonard has said he covets from his defensive players. Now, I want to be honest about the full picture on Slone because the concerns are real. He went from 7.5 sacks in 2024 to just 1.5 sacks in 2025 at NC State, which is a significant drop in production and a big reason he went undrafted despite showing genuine ability as a pass rusher. NFL.com's Lance Zierlein evaluated him and said Slone plays with a red-hot urgency that is rarely matched by opponents, that he's a stand-up edge rusher with good play recognition, and that he challenges blocks with aggressive first actions. But Zierlein also noted that his lack of range and short area agility could limit his impact as a playmaker at this level, and that special teams might actually be his most realistic route to a roster spot. And here is the honest truth about what that means for Slone. This defense is deep at the edge rusher position. Maxx Crosby is the best pass rusher on this roster when healthy. Kwity Paye signed a 3-year deal worth $48 million. Malcolm Kuntz was re-signed. Kieran Crawford was drafted in the 3rd round. The competition for that final edge rusher spot is genuinely fierce. But the fact that Rob Leonard's staff is already giving Slone veteran reps tells you they see something worth developing. And in a defense built around effort, relentlessness, and attacking mentality, a player with a red-hot urgency that cannot be coached might earn his place yet. The trade prediction that Raider Nation did not want to read this week involves Maxx Crosby because Bleacher Report's Mo Moton went on record predicting that the Raiders will trade him to the New England Patriots at the deadline. And the reasoning behind it is honest enough that I cannot just wave it away without addressing it seriously. Moton's argument is straightforward. Crosby turns 29 in August. He may not have many optimal years left at the level he is currently playing. John Spytek may decide at some point during the season that it makes more sense to trade him for a first-round pick and more while he is still performing at a Pro Bowl level on a team that may be a year or two away from real playoff contention. And the Patriots, who lost Clavon Chaisson in free agency and are now dealing with Harold Landry undergoing off-season knee surgery, could be in the market for pass rush help in the second half of the season. The projected package is a 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a player to jumpstart the conversation. Now, let me tell you exactly where I stand on this, and then let me give you the honest counter-argument. I do not want Maxx Crosby traded. I have never wanted Maxx Crosby traded. He is the most important defensive player on this roster, the face of this franchise, and the player who sets the tone for everything Rob Leonard is trying to build on this side of the ball. Trading him to a conference rival changes the entire dynamic of what this defense looks like and what this rebuild is built around. But here's the honest part. The Raiders already agreed to trade Crosby once this offseason. That is a fact. SpyTech was willing to do it for 2 first-round picks from Baltimore. The deal fell apart because of the medical concerns around the knee, not because this front office decided Crosby was untouchable. So the idea that a trade is completely off the table is not supported by what actually happened. The good news is that the Patriots package as described does not come close to matching what Baltimore was offering. The Patriots do not have a 2028 first-round pick because of the A.J. Brown trade, which means they cannot offer 2 firsts. And Crosby himself said this week that he is real close to returning from the knee injury and that he is almost at the point where he forgets he is injured. A healthy Maxx Crosby playing at a Pro Bowl level changes everything about how much leverage the Raiders have in any trade conversation. Let him get on the field first. Everything else gets decided after that. If you want to know what the final move of this offseason should be, the answer is Stefon Diggs, and ESPN's Aaron Schatz made the case in a way that is genuinely hard to argue against. The argument is simple and devastating in its simplicity. Diggs was the dependable number 1 target who helped Josh Allen significantly improve as a quarterback. Then he was the dependable number 1 target who helped Drake May significantly improve as a quarterback. So why wait for Fernando Mendoza's second season to get him a dependable number 1 target who can help him significantly improve? That is not a rhetorical question. That is a direct challenge to this front office to explain why the answer is anything other than pick up the phone and sign Diggs today. And when you look at what he actually produced last season, the case gets even stronger. He played in all 17 regular season games for the New England Patriots, caught 85 passes for 1,013 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then went to the playoffs and caught 20 passes for 110 yards and a touchdown across 4 postseason games. That is a 1,000-yard receiver producing at a high level deep into January at an age when most people assumed his best football was behind him. The Patriots released him for financial reasons after trading for a different receiver, not because he stopped being effective. That distinction matters. He did not fall off. He was pushed out by salary cap math, and now he is sitting in free agency waiting for a team smart enough to recognize what he still brings. Schatz called this a no-brainer, and he is right. The Raiders receiver room has Jalen Nailor as the nominal number 1 option, but Brock Bowers is realistically the top pass catcher on this entire roster. Trey Tucker, Jack Beck, and Donnie Thornton Jr. are all still searching for consistency. That is the honest assessment of where this group stands right now. Diggs changes that picture immediately. He gives Kirk Cousins a trusted veteran target who has operated at the highest level of this offense for years. He gives Fernando Mendoza a receiver he can grow with, someone who has already proven he can elevate a young quarterback's game from the moment he arrives. And he gives this offense the one thing it is currently missing: a legitimate number 1 option on the outside that opposing defenses have to account for on every single snap. Schatz said it perfectly. This one seems like a no-brainer. So what is this front office waiting for? And I want to close today with a story about opportunity and what it reveals about Cody Lindenberg, because the absence of Nakobe Dean through OTAs and mandatory minicamp opened a door that most 7th-round rookies never get. And Lindenberg walked through it in a way that this coaching staff and this fan base needed to see. Let me give you the full context. Dean signed a 3-year, $36 million deal with the Raiders in March and has been at the facility every day during the offseason program. But he has not been on the practice field. Klint Kubiak addressed it this week and was deliberately vague, saying he does not want to discuss injuries at this time of year and that the focus is on getting everybody healthy for training camp. Reading between the lines, Dean is dealing with something that has kept him off the field for the entire spring, which is concerning for a player this defense is counting on to be a starting inside linebacker alongside Key Walker. That is the uncomfortable part of this story. The encouraging part is what Lindenberg has done with the opportunity. According to The Athletic's Sam Warren, Lindenberg saw almost every first-team rep alongside Walker across OTAs and mandatory minicamp and appeared to hold his own. That is a 7th-round pick from 2025 who never played a single defensive snap in his entire rookie season, stepping into a starting role next to one of the highest-paid linebackers this team has ever signed, and holding his own against first-team offensive personnel. Walker himself has already spoken highly of Lindenberg, calling him tremendously smart, saying he knows what everybody is supposed to be doing on every play, and describing him as a sponge who soaks up everything without any attitude about it. That is a veteran linebacker who is supposed to be the leader of this unit, publicly endorsing his backup. Now I want to be honest about what this actually means and what it does not mean. Lindenberg being impressive in non-padded spring practices is genuinely encouraging. It is not a guarantee that he is ready to be a starting NFL linebacker. The real test comes when the pads go on in training camp, and he has to handle the physicality that spring practices simply cannot replicate. And if Dean comes back healthy and ready, Lindenberg slides back into his depth role, and everything returns to the plan. But if Dean's situation drags into training camp or beyond, this coaching staff needs to know right now whether Lindenberg can hold that starting spot for real, and everything coming out of this spring suggests he is more ready for that moment than anyone expected him to be at this point in his career. Well, Raider Nation, here is what today actually told us about where this franchise stands heading into the final stretch before training camp. Cian Slone is earning veteran reps as a UDFA and proving that this coaching staff rewards effort over pedigree every single time. The Crosby trade prediction is out there, and the only real answer to it is a healthy Maxx Crosby getting on that field and reminding the entire league why no package is ever going to be good enough. Stefon Diggs is still available, and this front office is running out of time to make the move that every honest assessment of this receiver room says needs to happen before week 1, and Cody Lindenberg is doing everything right in Nakobe Dean's absence, which is either a great sign about the depth of this linebacker room or a warning sign about Dean's availability that nobody wants to address directly yet. Training camp opens in late July, and every single one of these storylines gets its answer when those pads go on. The pieces are moving, the decisions are coming, and Raider Nation deserves a front office willing to make the bold call before the window closes. Drop your take in the comments. This space belongs to everyone who lives by Just Win Baby and never walked away from the silver and black.